Travel is starting to warm up. So we thought, let's check in someplace warm. See, that's really the thought process we have here. We want to check in on one of the most beautiful destinations in the world. Come with us. We're going to the beautiful shores of Hawaii, and we're getting the scoop from Hawaii from Robyn Basso, Senior Director of Travel Industry Partnerships for the Hawaii Visitors and Conventions Bureau. Welcome and aloha to Travel Agent TV. I'm Pat Miller, your host, and today this is an interactive webinar. We're going to talk with Robyn about what's going on in Hawaii, get your questions answered as well, and it's that simple to participate. No matter what platform you're watching on, put your questions into the chat and we will do our best to work them into the presentation today. Two more quick things. If you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe. That way you won't miss a single episode of Travel Agent TV. And if you're not a part of our Facebook group yet, well, that's something we would love for you to do as well. Join our free Facebook group for travel advisors and the travel suppliers. This is where everyone's together under one roof. We call it Travel Agent TV, and it's happening right now on Facebook. But with that, how about we bring in the star of the show, Robyn Basso. She is the Senior Director of Travel Partnerships for the Hawaii Visitors and Convention Bureau. And Robyn, look at that setting. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm so fortunate to be coming to you live from the island of Hawaii. So with this incredible, beautiful backdrop, so wanted to bring some warmth and aloha to all of our mainland travel advisors.
I love that. So I'm just learning as we go here. You're on the Big Island there right now, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I'm on the west side. I'm near Kailua Kona. So it really known for, a lot of beautiful oceanfront, not really white sandy beaches in this area, but I'm going to be heading up to that part of the island later on today as well.
That's terrific. Well, thank you for making time for us early in the morning, your time. And, here in the States, it's later on in the afternoon, but it's Friday, so we got good vibes flowing. And we've got folks that are streaming into the chat. So if there are questions that you want to ask today, please put them in the chat and we'll get them in front of Robyn. So Robyn, we want to ask all about Hawaii, traveling to get there, about the conditions and all of that. But I want to step back just 1 second. With the announcement that President Biden made last night that he's expecting that the vaccine will be available to everybody as of May 1st, is that just another notch on our road to recovery? Do you think that's going to start lighting the fire of people booking travel?
100%. And even just talking with some of our partners, some of our tour operators and consortia, they're already seeing really positive trends in booking that the vaccines have been rolling out. So I think it's just another really positive thing with the cases going down, the vaccinations increasing, people, all that pent up demand, people are ready to travel and they're going to need a travel advisor more than ever now.
So you had to get to Hawaii. How was the process of getting there, getting to the islands, the travel protocols? What's it like to just get there right now?
Yeah, and it's so interesting, Pat, because the majority of my time is spent educating travel advisors about the process, and I hadn't actually been here personally in about a year, and so a lot of what I was talking about was in theory, right? Here's the process, and we all know the bullet points and the websites, but it was great to be able to go through it firsthand, and I think it helps me to break it down what can be perceived as a complex process. So, really the most important thing for getting to Hawaii is the first step is, setting up your test. And, the state of Hawaii has a list of their trusted testing partners. So that's what I always tell travel advisors. You got to go make sure that you are taking an approved test by the state of Hawaii from the list of trusted testing partners. And all that information is on our hawaiicovid19.com/travel site. So went to the site, right, found a local for me. I went to AFC clinic, but there's tons of different providers. I set up my appointment. You always want to set up the appointment within 72 hours of your flight, basically your flight from the mainland to Hawaii. So I flew from Chicago to San Francisco and then San Francisco to Maui. So I booked my test within 72 hours from that leg of San Francisco to Maui. And then once you've done that, you basically get on the Safe Travels program website, create a profile with your contact information, with your travel information, where you're staying. And then as soon as you get your negative test result, you upload that to the application, Within 24 hours, you answer a health questionnaire, and then basically your Safe Travels application populates, says you're COVID negative, and you're good to go. I was fortunate with United Airlines and some of our other partners too, Hawaiian and Delta. They have pre-clearance opportunities. So what I was able to do is in San Francisco, you get an email and a text from your airline. I got mine from United. Said, hey, come to get gate F16. We can pre-clear you. Walked up to the gate, showed my credentials, got a bracelet from United. So then when I got off the plane in Hawaii, I was able to walk straight through, completely expedited arrival. It is absolutely fantastic. And more airlines are adding more gateways. Delta now, or so there's a partnership with Delta and United for select routes for Clear, which is going to also completely, add to the number of testing possibilities. So it's getting easier and easier, as the process goes. So I was actually thrilled at how, at the end of the day, it seems complex, but when you just take it kind of step by step, it's not as difficult. And I thought the pre-clearance opportunity was fantastic. So it's a great thing to be able to share with your clients and think about it when you're booking flights. And the Safe Travels program is very simple, and that's at the travel.hawaii.gov. And there's a quick little, even if you're not traveling anywhere, there's a quick little 3-minute video that you can watch to, kind of, familiarize yourself with that process and share kind of the details with your clients, because you just want to make sure they're comfortable and that they know exactly what they need to do to make sure they don't end up in quarantine.
And that's a great power tip for the advisors that are watching. And that's what today is about, to get the answers about Hawaii from you so we can serve our clients and have them have a great experience. What about when we get there? What about island hopping? What are the protocols like to go from place to place? Once you're in, are you in, or are there restrictions and guidelines to get around?
Yeah, currently the testing is similar for inter-county or inter-island travel that it is for the mainland, where they really want testing within 72 hours prior to travel to your next island. So what I'll share with you right now, you can travel within the islands with a pre-test. And so when I was in Maui, I had to book my pre-test there to go to the Big Island, to the island of Hawaii. So basically, you go to that same site, the hawaiicovid19.com/travel, and they have a list of state of Hawaii travel partners. So you can look at that list. You'll know who is local, who's most conveniently located for you. And so for me, it was Long's Drugs, and they have a link right there. I clicked on the link, I booked my appointment, and got my test result. And what you do for inter-island trips is you do the same process. You go to the Safe Travels app, and you basically add another trip. So your first trip was your trip from the mainland, and you've got your test results all uploaded there. So you create another trip. So I created another trip with my flight from Kahului to Kona, put in all my information and uploaded my negative test results. And then when I deplaned in Kona, just showed them my credentials and I was good to go. The nice thing is the island of Oahu is the only island that does not require a test if traveling from another island. So where, typically travel advisors might book an Oahu Maui combination, and Oahu as the first island, my recommendation is to book it, if you're ever doing Oahu, book it as the second or third island, because you don't require another test. So if I was coming from Chicago to Maui, I would take one pre-test, going Maui to Oahu, no test required, and then fly home from Oahu. And just to keep everyone, just a reminder that the CDC requirements for international travel for testing to go home, of course, does not apply for Hawaii because we are part of the United States. So it is just a pre-travel testing program. So upon your departure from Hawaii back to the mainland, there's no additional testing required.
So if I'm talking to a busy family or a busy couple and they're thinking about going to Hawaii, they're not sure, walk me through that experience of getting on a bustling plane of people freaking out in San Francisco and landing and being there where you are. I mean, look at how beautiful it is where you are. What is the feeling like when you finally get there and you're on vacation in Hawaii? Can you describe that for us? And I think maybe her earbuds are disconnected here. because I see that she's working on her connection there. So let's just reset while we're talking here. We're talking right now with Robyn Basso, Senior Director of Travel Industry Partnerships for the Hawaii Visitors and Conventions Bureau. And everything looks great, Robyn, if you can still hear me, but I think your earbuds might have disconnected. So we have lost you there on your earbuds is what I would imagine has happened. So let's do this. We're going to put Robyn, while she figures that out. Tom, I'm going to bring you on the air just for a second, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So how about we talk about that as you're trying to experience and translate that feeling that clients get when they arrive in Hawaii. How do you talk about it with your clients?
Well, first of all, arriving in Hawaii is, just what gets me is the smell of the Hawaiian Islands. I mean, it just hits you. All the floral smells that hit you when you arrive in Hawaii is just phenomenal. You get the lei greeting, you get the aloha welcome, and just the warmth of all the Hawaiian people welcoming you. So it's super memorable. I mean, for the times I've had the pleasure of going, that there's nothing like it. And travel in general, when you are, arriving in a destination, coming from your home city, it is like going to a different world. It really does change your whole mindset. It does change your whole vibe in terms of, your stress level and what you've been experiencing back home. And like we always say, that's what vacation's all about, right? It's all about, getting that escape, getting that release from what life is like back home with all the stresses of COVID and work and everything else, right?
Yeah, it sounds like a wonderful place. And I think Robyn is reconnected here. Robyn, do we have your audio by chance? I can see you just fine. No, looks like we're not connected just yet. So Tom, this is cutting edge stuff, right? We're like,
yeah, no, this is live streaming on Facebook. But when you're considering Hawaii vacation, Robyn talked a lot about it, and what we'd like to do with our clients is, make sure that they have the full Hawaii experience. Make sure that they have a multi-island itinerary. Make sure that they're experiencing all the great things that Hawaii has to offer. With the culture and the tours and the food, and so it's really a very unique vacation opportunity. And the agents really do contribute a lot because we can help build that perfect itinerary. Whether it's the sightseeing or whether it's the culture, we can definitely help build that.
Yeah, and I think we're really having a connection problem with Robyn. I'm going to take her off the air here again because her earbuds have disconnected. Let's just work on this real quick. Okay. So what about you, Tom? Let's talk about the industry as it's facing you right now.
Sure.
With the announcement from President Biden and the increase in the vaccine penetration here. Are you starting to feel it on your end?
Yes, we already were. And I think it's only going to help now with building consumer confidence, but building consumer trust that says, hey, you know what, if there's going to be a big surge of vaccinations and, the masses of our population in the U.S. are going to be vaccinated, over the next couple of months, well, now I feel really good about, booking a vacation, for the fall or the holidays or for the first part of 2022. So we had already been busy in the last few weeks, with lots of new trip requests. And I think that's only going to be magnified now with the announcement of how the vaccine program is going to be accelerated and what the expectations are there.
And it's exciting to see it all come back. And it kind of feeds back to the conversation we had Tuesday inside the Travel Think Tank about how do we ready our schedules and make sure that we're doing everything we can to be ready to serve our clients. And our conversation last week when we were talking with Apple Leisure Group and we were really going over what the big picture is. It's got to be an exciting time to feel like, oh, hey, I'm going to actually charge some credit cards soon. How does that feel?
No doubt. And you definitely you got to up your game a little bit. The last year or so, we've all been in this, kind of holding pattern mode and doing lots of different things that, are hopefully preparing us. Well, now the time has come and you got, it's game day, right? You got to get yourself ready to go. So that's what we're really focused on, on Travel Think Tank within the group, just to make sure that, all of our agent colleagues and our supplier friends, we're all going to be able to maximize the opportunities that are in front of us because, the last year has been hard. It's been hard financially, it's been hard emotionally, psychologically, you name it. And now that we're coming out of that, we wanted to make sure that we maximize. So, conversations like we're having with Robyn today, and like we had last week with Ray Stisky from ALG Vacations, we want to continue to work on that so we can prepare everyone and provide you the information that you need to, to really make a huge impact because the time is now.
Well, I think what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to record an interview with Robyn at another time and put it back up on YouTube and on Facebook Live. We're having a connection problem. While the location was beautiful to look at, ocean in the background, I just wanted to be there. But looks like we're having a problem seeing how she's 3,000 miles away. So, it happens. It's all good. This is live, I would say live TV, but it's really life. So let's do that, Tom. Robyn, we love you. We'll reconnect and we'll bring you back on Travel Agent TV at your convenience. Tom, any words of wisdom before we log off today?
No, I would say, we'll bring Robyn back. She's such an awesome advocate and such an awesome representative of Hawaii. She's been there now for many weeks, experiencing everything that Hawaii has to offer. On her Facebook page, she's been keeping us all really up to speed on all of her travels. So I've really, really enjoyed that. So we'll bring Robyn back. And then for all of you on the call today, please watch for more live stream events from Travel Agent TV, because we want to continue to do these to bring you, some great representatives from our industry and bring you information that you maybe can't get anywhere else. And do it in a format with you, Pat, as our host, that can really kind of inform and even entertain our people out there.
Let's do this. Robyn, I think we have you. Can you hear us, Robyn?
I can.
Okay. We lost your camera for some reason. Yes, we hear you just fine. Tom, I'm going to pop you off here. Robyn, let's just get a few more things into the conversation here before we sign off for today. Because I can hear you now, but I can't see you. But we have a question in the chat. Which airlines, and this is from Jennifer Walker, which airlines did Robyn say she was able to coordinate pre-clearance with? You listed a few. Can you rerun those for us?
Oh, sure. So I travel on United, but it's United, Alaska, and Hawaiian have pre-clearance opportunities. And then there's also Delta and United are participating in the CLEAR program, which allows people to upload those negative test results. And it really opens up additional lab testing options for people flying select Delta United flights that have CLEAR.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more about the destination, and we'll just treat this like an old school radio interview. How about that? You sound fantastic. We just can't see you, unfortunately.
No.
So I was asking about the experience when you landed in Hawaii. How are the Hawaiian people doing? What is the weather like? What is that experience right now to finally arrive, leaving the chaos of the mainland?
It's really amazing. I mean, Hawaii has always been such a special place to me. And I always have that wonderful feeling of just, when I get off the plane and just the air is soft and the fragrant flowers. And, obviously it's been such a difficult time for so many people in the mainland, for travel advisors. But, when you think about the people of Hawaii and a destination that is so dependent upon tourism, and, we collectively as a destination had to take a step back and prioritize health and safety. But as you can imagine, it was very difficult for so many people financially. So I think the wonderful thing is now is that the people are, the cases are going down with all of the steps Hawaii has taken. The people of Hawaii are ready to welcome visitors with open arms and to come and experience this beautiful destination. The weather has been beautiful here. There has been a little bit of rain on the northeast, the windward sides of some of the islands, but basically every day is, high of 80, low of 70, pretty consistent there. And it's been wonderful to interact with, hospitality staff at hotels, at restaurants, at activities. Everybody's, I think, just so excited to get back to just a semblance of normalcy and to see people here families, couples, like truly enjoying, the wide open beaches, enjoying, kind of a reformatted luau, or, just like engaging in, wonderful cultural activities. It warms my heart to see. So I really think it's a beautiful kind of atmosphere of mutual respect, and people wearing their masks and just, out of care for each other. And it just seems that people here are really, really enjoying it. And I think that the local people are happy to see things progress in a positive direction as well.
If you're just joining us, we have on the phone, essentially, Robyn Basso, Senior Director of Travel Industry Partnerships for the Hawaii Visitors and Conventions Bureau. And we're interested in your questions about Hawaii. And I think people really want to know what's open. What can we do? At what capacity? What's the situation?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I get that question from so many advisors. And, we reopened, basically we implemented the pre-testing program in October. And so things have been kind of gradually reopening. Right now, about 98% of all of our hotels are open. A couple will be opening, actually, let's see, I think the Four Seasons Ko'olina opened just yesterday. Turtle Bay on Oahu will be opening in June. But most of the other properties are open. What you'll see, though, is sometimes, not every tower might be open, because obviously everyone's operating at a little bit of lower capacity. So I went to visit the newly renovated Hyatt Regency in Maui. So they have one tower open, not the other. And some of the hotels might not have all of their food outlets or bars and restaurants. So when I got here January 28th, it seemed to be a little bit more limited in some of the hotel offerings. But even since I've been here, this is now my fifth week, I'm seeing more and more things opening. In terms of restaurants, retail, all of that, open and operating just with CDC guidelines. So, if you're going to a restaurant, as you're waiting to be seated, you'll have your mask on. Usually they'll just ask for contact information, maybe take a temperature. You'll go sit at your seat, and when you sit down, you can remove your mask. If you're in anywhere indoors, masks are required. If you're outdoors and you can socially distance, it's not necessary. So when I've been out hiking or been walking or running on the beach, I'll have my mask with me. So if I'm on my own, I don't wear it. If I come in contact, with people kind of just both put their masks up, at the same time to really, kind of just show respect. One thing is a great tip for travel advisors is, I think the perception is, oh, well, there's less people in destination. It should be really easy to book like activities and tours, but it's actually what I've found is somewhat the opposite, because, with limiting capacity, some activities are operating on less days at lower capacity numbers. So it might be harder to secure that sunrise Haleakala trip or that luau. So it's really critical for travel advisors to kind of take the time and reach out to these companies to make sure they're open and operating, and to really book those bucket list, experiences in advance. Because if your client's going to walk away from Hawaii and be disappointed, right, they didn't get to see the sunrise at Haleakala, it's really important that the travel advisor can do that due diligence and to make sure and secure those really special opportunities.
And one of those is going to a luau. What is that like right now?
Yeah, it's different. If many of you, kind of know the traditional luau with, usually at large tables with multiple parties or multiple families, and, going to a buffet dinner. So right now, they're operating less days with lower capacity, and you're going to have a table with people only in your own party. So I really like it because it kind of makes it more intimate. And instead of doing a buffet, they're doing service to the table. So you're with the ones that you love. You're still getting the incredible food. You're not having to wait in line for it. You're still getting a beautiful Hawaiian and Polynesian show right there on the ocean. So to me, it's actually almost improved the experience. So it just looks a little bit different. And again, with the reduction of the days, because I think back in the day, everyone would say, oh gosh, there's, luau's are 7 days a week and you've got your choice. So that's really changing. So again, I would just encourage people to book those in advance, but it's still a very wonderful, special culinary cultural experience that I think everyone should have when they're in Hawaii.
If you're just joining us, Robyn Basso is on the phone. We're talking about all things Hawaii, and we're answering your questions in the chat as well. If there's something you'd like to know, and you can actually hear the ocean in the background. Listen to that. Sounds amazing. If you have a question, drop it in the chat, and we'll get into the conversation. Jennifer Walker has a question. Is the Hawaii Visitors and Convention Bureau considering offering any FAM trips for advisors anytime soon? Any information on
No,
that, perhaps?
yeah, no, thank you, Jennifer, and thanks, Pat. You know what, and we always have really been a huge proponent of familiarization opportunities, because we know when you come to Hawaii, it's organic that you will just become an evangelist and sell it and have that firsthand experience. Unfortunately, we did have to take a pause with, all of the different restrictions that were happening in Hawaii, because of that, and gathering sizes limited and activities being closed. However, with things reopening, we are looking to hopefully execute a couple of those programs, towards the latter part of this year and into early 2022. So if you are, what I would recommend on our travel agent website, which is our agents.gohawaii.com, if you've completed all 6 certifications, you can apply for one of our master specialist programs. So we don't have particular dates as it stands right now, just because the situation is very fluid, but we will be reaching out and letting people know when those opportunities become available. And typically it's one island for about 5 nights. So of course you'll get the site inspections, but for us, it's really about the experience of the destination, to usually really get out there and engage in activities, outdoor, cultural activities, to really give you that kind of full experience of what Hawaii is really about.
You also mentioned a few other websites, and as we get ready to wrap up our call here today, can you recheck some of those websites that you've shared in this interview to make sure that we all have them and we can write them down? You mentioned agents.gohawaii.com. What
Yep.
else do you have that we should be keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so the agents.gohawaii.com is really for sales and marketing resources, education and training, and overall destination information. The one that is most helpful as it relates to travel protocols and all of the protocols while in Hawaii is hawaiicovid19.com/travel. That will lead you to the list of trusting partners, all of the protocols, and all of the different things happening on each island. And then the last website I would recommend is the Safe Travels program, and that's where your clients will have to create a profile and add their trip. And that website is travel.hawaii.gov.
Okay, we've got all that listed now inside the chat on the YouTube channel. So thank you for that. We've got another question about Kauai. Can you give us an update on what's going on there?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. So Kauai, for a brief time, had removed itself from participating in the Safe Travels program, because the cases were increasing at that time. They have, it's a small island with limited healthcare, so they had opted out of Safe Travels. I am thrilled to announce that as of April 5th, Kauai is re-entering Safe Travels. So you will be able to travel to Kauai from the mainland, just as I mentioned at the beginning, just like any other island, by taking a pre-travel test on the mainland 72 hours prior. You can go to Kauai. And also, if you're traveling from any other island in Hawaii, going to Kauai, that will be just the same process as traveling to any other island. If anyone does have clients traveling to Kauai prior to April 5th, there's kind of a whole different set of rules that require, if people are coming to Kauai as their first island from the mainland, they actually need to stay at a resort bubble property, where there are participating properties that are participating, and you stay on that property. You're not allowed to leave for 3 days. So it's kind of, we call it an EMQ, enhanced movement quarantine. So you're not stuck in your room. You can enjoy the resort. But on that 4th day you test, and if you have a negative test, you're free to enjoy the island. So that's kind of the situation before April 5th. But hopefully, if you've got clients going, April 5th and after, that it's going to be a much more streamlined, less restrictive process to travel to Kauai.
Well, things are looking up, and many, many more people are going to be traveling very soon. Any final thoughts that you want to share about Hawaii, or things that you want advisors to know while you have the opportunity?
What I would love travel advisors to know is that, don't count Hawaii out. I know that we've got, restrictions in place, but it's really just so important that we prioritize health and safety for our visitors, for your clients, for residents. It really is a very simple process. and utilize us, utilize the Visitors Bureau, utilize the Hawaii COVID-19 website, to make sure your clients have the updated information, because it is a perfect time to be in Hawaii. It is less crowded. The weather is beautiful. The local people are ready and willing to welcome you to Hawaii. So there's never been a better time to come and experience the beautiful Hawaiian Islands.
It sounds wonderful, and thank you for taking the time today. Robyn Basso, Senior Director of Travel Industry Partnerships for the Hawaii Visitors and Convention Bureau. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, mahalo. Thanks so much, Pat. Happy Aloha Friday.
Yes, no kidding. Oh my gosh, we're going to celebrate. That is for sure. So this has been an edition of Travel Agent TV, where we have information resources at your fingertips. We get your questions answered because we are built by travel agents for travel agents. So we bring the best and the brightest on to try and grow your agency and make you some more money. So if you enjoyed the show today, make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/travelagenttv. And if you want to hang out with us, that's cool. Join our Facebook group. It's right there on the screen, facebook.com/travelatv. I'm Pat Miller.